to the online family program coming to you from the Sunshine Coast Health Center. My name is Sarah, and this is actually part 5 in an 8-part series about pitfalls to avoid for family members of people who are struggling in addiction, but today mostly for people that are in early recovery. So if your loved one is in early recovery, and so you know their behavior and addiction is fresh still on your mind, you might be quite concerned about whether they look like they're being selfish or not. So I wanted to talk today about the pitfall of confusing self-concern for selfishness. And this is a really big one for people that are just, still very much in their healing process. So one of the big stereotypes about people in addiction is that they are selfish. One of the things that makes up a so-called addict is that they're selfish people. And I'm not so convinced of that myself. I think that their behavior can look really selfish because they're spending a lot of time using or trying to, procure a substance or taking part in whatever kind of activity repetitively. So, they're doing that with all their time, and they don't have time for other people. Their number one relationship has really become that addiction, and that's at the expense of all their other relationships. So this can really obviously look like selfishness. So in recovery, obviously we discourage being selfish because that's counter to living a meaningful life. And so we do promote self-concern though. And this can be a little bit difficult in relationships because if you're misconstruing their self-concern for selfishness, this can create quite a bit of tension. So I definitely recommend talking to them and getting some clarification around this. Self-concern is akin to self-care, and we all need to take part in self-care and self-concern. It's things like taking time for self-reflection. This helps with becoming more self-aware so that we can become better people. So self-concern helps us to become a better person, which in turn, then we can be a better person for those around us that we love. So whereas selfishness is never for anyone else. So that's the difference there. And so I really encourage you to not make any assumptions with your loved ones and just have a good, straightforward conversation, and make sure that you do not confuse self-concern with selfishness. So that's it for this week, and I hope you join us again next episode.